When you hold an individual stock or even in an ETF, there is always a chance that you're going to see a stock split. That is what we're going to be talking about in the insanity that is going on right now with stock splits. Now, we've seen this historically. A lot of people are saying that Nvidia is going to stock split in the near future. I know the CEO had mentioned that it is up for negotiation, up for debates now, whatever it may be. But in today's video, we're going to be looking at Chipotle. Now, if you love the Mexican grill, the food there, we've had it a couple times. It is very good. The Mexican grill, Chipotle, has approved a 50-to-1 stock split. Kind of crazy to think that they are doing 50-to-1. And I wasn't even aware, again, because I usually don't do anything with individual stocks, just how much the Chipotle stock was at to have a 50-to-1 stock split. And we'll talk about what that exactly means. Now, of course, it is the first stock split in 30 years that we have seen Chipotle in their 30-year history. This is the first stock. Now, a lot of people, and the reason they do these stock splits is to make Chipotle stock essentially affordable to everybody that wants to get into this. Now, of course, they kind of went back and forth. Chipotle still needs the green light from the shareholders, which they're expecting to pass in June. So it's not like they just say, hey, this is the stock split we're going to get, and boom, there we go, it is done. Now, currently, Chipotle is trading around $2,900 a share. That is right. One single share of a company, like we talked about in our basic investing video, one single share of that company is around $2,900. With a 50-to-1 stock split, it is taking that $2,900 stock and putting it down to 58 bucks. You can see how essentially this is going to make the stock much more affordable for people that do want to buy the stock. And it is really unprecedented. I don't think I've heard of a time that I've seen a 50-to-1, a 4-to-1, a 5-to-1, 6-to-1, even 8-to-1, 10-to-1, but a 50-to-1 stock split in there is crazy. So when you look at a stock split, it doesn't actually change the cost. It changes the price per share. So when you look at the shareholders' ownings or the holdings that you might possess if you own Chipotle as of today, it is not going to, it's essentially going to increase your shares, but it is changing the share price. So essentially, if I hold that one stock or one share of Chipotle at $2,900, I will hold the exact same value when it splits 50-to-1. But now instead of holding that one share of Chipotle, I am going to own 50 shares of that at $58. Now, what this does essentially, in thinking about it mathematically, let's say the stock goes back to $58, you get your 50 shares. Now those 50 shares go up to $100. That is right. You are gaining essentially on that note, $42 per share times the 50 shares that you have. It is a considerable earning, and it will give the ability for the stock to really move. And again, I didn't know that it was actually that high. Now, of course, they're saying, and economists and a lot of people, analysts, senior analysts are saying this is partially psychological, partially crazy to go, and it may intimidate investors to actually get into Chipotle. On the other end, there are also reverse stock splits where the prices increase per share, which this I did not know either. So definitely learning a lot here. But there are reverse stock splits where the price of the share will increase, even though, but again, it doesn't change the value of the holdings, but the amount that you have might lessen or it might be greater. Now, of course, we've seen this really common within probably the last 10 days. It also says there's been a couple of the benchmark S&P 500 companies that have seen a 20 to 30 that we've seen compared to 20 and 30 years ago that were for recorded stock splits, which were just about this size. And you're looking in the past 20 or 30 years that they have seen this kind of record stock splits. And again, I don't know the 50-to-1 ratio that they're looking for. So how rare are the stock splits? Now, it says most common, you see a 2-to-1, a 3-to-1, making a 50-to-1 a super rare occurrence within the US stock history. In 47 years in the S&P, there has not been a split like this. Now, again, there has been splits, but not of this magnitude, which is kind of crazy. Now, of course, even looking back historically, Alphabet and Amazon unveiled a 20-to-1 stock split. Outside of that, the only company that has done this 50-to-1 stock split that it's showing here is South Korean-based Samsung, announced a 50-to-1 stock split back in 2018. So why are they doing it? So essentially, what they're thinking is a 50-to-1 stock split is going to increase the accessibility and open a much wider pool of investors that don't want to have that $2,900 price tag for one single share, where they can go ahead and put it in, essentially get in there at that $58 price tag. Now, of course, shares of Chipotle are up 80% or more than where they were a year ago. So when you think of Nvidia being up a couple 100%, when you look at AMD, when you look at all of these companies that you're investing in, if you're buying individual stock, Chipotle is up more than 80% in the last 12 months, which again is kind of crazy. So the split comes at a time when it is experiencing an all-time high driven record revenue profits and also record growth that we have seen for this company. Chipotle reported a net income of $1.23 billion, which is kind of crazy, up from almost $900 million the prior year, which again is kind of crazy. Even total revenue hit almost $10 billion from 2022. So it's up about 15% if you're looking to invest in Chipotle. Now might be the time before you see this massive stock split, or essentially waiting until the day that the stock split is going to happen, when it kind of reprices to that $58, and we don't know exactly the price it's going to be when it actually does split. But if you do wait until that, because of course it isn't a done deal. The shareholders in the board did approve the stock split, but now it goes to the shareholders. Shareholders have to approve the stock split as well, and they are looking for that approval on June 6th. If it is approved, and it will be recorded as of June 18th, they will go ahead and receive the 49 additional shares, and the price will be adjusted. So essentially, like we were saying, you have one stock or one share at that $2,900. They're giving you another 49 shares in there, and then the price would be $58. And the shares are expected to begin trading post-split, so right after the split on June 26th. So if you're interested in Chipotle, definitely set that calendar. If you see the split and then you buy a bunch of the shares, and the shares go up like we've seen from record profits, record revenue, and of course growth that we've seen out of this company, which means, again, it has set an all-time high of just over $3,000 per share for Chipotle. So again, if you're getting in at that $58 and you see another huge growth out of there, being able to buy a multitude of stocks to only see it go up again would be just absolutely crazy. Which again, looking in the last 12 months, over an 80% gain in the growth of this company, and it continues to do well. And you know what? If you have a food-based company that does incredibly well, that serves their customers really well, has a good reward program, has good food in general, people are going to come back, and people are going to come back with a ferocity to go in there and get food from Chipotle. I know, especially with the accessibility of Grubhub and DoorDash and everyone else who is doing delivery services, Chipotle still stays pretty relatively cheap when it comes to prices. When you look at McDonald's and an extra value meal is $12, I can get something that is health conscious, that is a lot better for me, that is fresh, that is ready, that is made at Chipotle for a lesser price than we're seeing a lot of these fast food places. And of course, it doesn't really have the feel of a fast food place, especially the one around where I live. I love Chipotle. I think it is going to be a good investment, which again, I don't personally invest in individual stocks, but definitely keep an eye out for it. All right, guys, so that is going to do it. Let me know what you guys think about Chipotle's crazy 50-to-1 stock split, and I'll catch you in the next video.